Welcome back. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody?
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday it is. We are so glad that you guys came to be a part of another podcast where we're just real people.
Hey, dealing with real issues.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Let's Conversate with Josh and Sharon. And we are on your dial today.
Yes.
Oh, man. So we got a good show.
Yes, we do.
I mean, a good show. I think you guys going to enjoy this one. And we're just going to talk about some real life, real issues, right?
Okay, yeah.
We talk about things that people talk about every day.
You right.
You got all the answers?
No, I don't.
I don't either. So we're just going to have a conversation, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. So we are excited about the show today, everybody. And we're just going to go for what we know, right?
Yes.
Sharon, what we talking about today?
Hey, is it worth it?
Oh, man, is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
We talking about these relationships. We continuing on from the last topic that we had on last week. What we were talking about last week?
Marriage and finance.
Marriage and finances. So this time we're going to talk about
Is it worth it?
is it worth it? Why do people mess up in relationships, basically, right?
Yeah.
Cheat, just do the things that you shouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
Your significant other, right?
Mm-hmm.
You vow for better or for worse.
Yeah.
So, are you making it better or are you
worse.
making it worse, right?
Hey, which one?
So you ready to dive into this thing?
Hey, let's go ahead and dive in.
And we are finna dive right into it. So y'all kick back and relax for about a good 30 minutes and we're going to bring this to you all. So, hey, so let's just talk about this thing, so Sharon,
Mhm.
so my question is, why do people cheat?
Many different reasons, Josh.
Many different reasons.
Many different reasons.
Yeah, so people get into these relationships or whatever the case may be, and they fall head over heels for each other, and I'm not sure in a lot of relationships is it real love or is it just
Lust.
infatuation, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people they fail to realize or understand the difference between what love is
Mhm.
versus what lust is. That's a good,
Okay,
good topic
alright.
there. And so we want to know why. We got a question for you all this week. Like, why do people cheat in relationships, right?
Mhm.
Because I had always grown up like wondering, like, why do people even get in relationships,
Especially if they're not ready.
right? In long-term relationships and
Mhm.
end up getting married or having children from someone and bog down somebody's life and don't really have no intentions of being faithful or being in that relationship wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
And I think that, a lot of things that will uh, curb the appetite of, stepping out on your significant other is knowing that you really want to be there
With the
and
individual.
right and what purpose you want to be there for.
Okay, yeah.
I think every relationship be drawn around a purpose,
Mhm.
right?
What's your purpose?
What's your purpose? Is your purpose there just for all right, now listen. I know it's Saturday morning, but I'm gonna need y'all to get them kids out of here because this is grown folk talk. So we finna have some grown folk talk right now. So I'm gonna give y'all a minute, get them kids out of here. All right, we're back. So listen, you know, are you there just for, you know, sexual reasons? Are you there because it's just a convenience out of convenience?
Okay.
Are you there because it's something that you're trying to build?
Or you feel trapped?
Long. Are you there because
No.
trap comes after you have been there for a while. To me,
Okay. Okay.
after you've been there for a while, then you can't get out or you want to get out. Then that's when feeling trapped to me comes in. But I guess I'm trying to figure out why we going
Okay.
into it.
Let's go. Yeah.
So why are we going into it? What purpose are you going into it with? Because sometimes people have different reasons for why they enter in relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you might have the one, and I don't want to put the soft part all only on the women of love, because sometimes it might be the man that go in on love, and the woman might be going in with a whole nother motive, so if your motives going in is not pure, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your
Yeah.
motives going in on ain't on one accord, right? Then 9 out of 10, you stirring up a pot, a recipe of something that might explode into something that you weren't bargaining for when you first entered into the relationship. That making sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you going into these relationships, you going into a mutual understanding that you want to be with him and he want to be with you.
Yes.
And communication from the giddy up is vital.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's the lifeline, right?
Yes, it is.
Of having a healthy conversation, because if you go in a conversation, I mean, having a healthy relationship, because if you go in a relationship with lack of communication, that's a recipe for disaster later on in that relationship. Am I right?
You're right.
So, and a lot of people, I feel like, I don't have the answers, but I'm just trying to dialogue here. A lot of people, to me, they enter into relationships without the right words.
Okay.
Let me make sense of this.
Make it sense.
I'm gonna make it make sense. So a lot of people go into relationships with the ideal of assuming that something is there. There's a strong possibility that it might not. In other words, might go in a relationship off of the words that this Flojo done gave you of a great, life he's promising, but never gave you a strategic plan of how he gonna achieve that life that he's promising.
Okay.
So some people could be naive and go in a relationship just because they're infatuated with a person
by what they're saying,
and their looks and their demeanor, more so than finding out who that person really is.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense. You got to know who you're connecting yourself with.
Absolutely. You better know who you're connecting yourself with, because mess around and get with somebody, he tell you or she tell you one thing from the start of it, and then later on down the road it'll be something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I agree.
And people change in relationships.
Yes.
They do. I mean, you start off in a relationship with someone, that one person. You ever heard the saying, like, when you meet somebody one night and you go to bed with them, and then they wake up the next morning, they're a whole different person physically. You go to bed with them, they got the nice, beautiful lace front on, looking good to you and everything, and then you wake up the next morning, the lace front sitting on top of your doggone bedpost or something like that.
Not sitting over there.
And she wake up with one of them wave caps on. Where your hair? We got to be honest from the get-go when going into relationships.
You're right. You're definitely right.
You can't just get with a person because they tell you you're cute and tell you you look good.
It's more in a relationship than that.
Absolutely. It's a whole lot more in a relationship than that. And then when we enter
I would say, in a relationship, date with a purpose.
Absolutely. Date with a purpose. You got to have a purpose for why you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you spend too much time, that's a good point. Because if you spend too much time in a relationship, to me, without identifying and stating the purpose, then you spend time, a lot of idle time.
Wasted time.
Because then you wait. Sometimes we could wait too long. Do y'all agree? That sometimes we could wait too long.
In relationships.
And we could wait too long to state our purpose, right? For the relationship or while we're in a relationship. Sometimes people don't state their purpose until they're upset in a relationship. Something that went wrong. And, I was with you this way. I thought this and I thought this. Well, those are conversations that should be had early on.
Yeah.
Versus letting things fester.
Definitely.
Right? To a boiling point. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Me, you know what I mean? So I like to put my meat and my different potatoes and things in a pot when it's before it become to the boiling point. Because after a
Mhm.
while, once it become a boiling point, when you try to interject something into that pot that's boiling, the chances of getting burnt is a lot greater,
Mhm.
at a boiling point.
Yeah.
When you mean well and you mean to do something well, it don't be perceived well because you're already at that boiling point. So before it get to the boiling point, you want to kind of take care of what you got to take care of early on.
Yeah.
The same thing in a relationship, before things get heated out of control. And I thought you was this, and I thought you was that. Well, I ain't know you were like this, I ain't know you were like that. Sometimes we need to figure out those things before we get to a
Into
point
a serious
where
relationship.
it's just to the point of no return. And then that set up these scenarios for why people cheat, right?
Mhm.
Because people start losing their trust for one
Yes.
another. People start feeling like the other partner does not so much care for them as they thought they would or should. You know,
Yeah.
what you got?
Oh, excitement, chemistry.
You got to have excitement and chemistry. If we spend more of
You
our
gotta keep it
time,
live. You
absolutely,
gotta
do
show
what
affection
do what you
to
did.
your
I feel like
significant other.
absolutely do what you did
Not,
early on.
yeah. And even when you get married, you don't stop. You don't stop dating your spouse, and you bring excitement
Absolutely, yeah. So you do. I feel like if you do what you did
before you.
when you get that person or whatever the case may be, don't get into a relationship where um, after you done got that person,
And
then
then you switch up on them.
yeah, you feel like you got them or whatever the case may be. So now life involving doesn't really matter. It's not number one priority. Life involving should always be a number one priority, not just for the significant other, but for your own self-esteem, for your own, durability, for your own, get up and go and your own spunk. I feel like if we always keep in mind that we have to keep ourselves together for us and love us first.
Yeah. First, when you love yourself wholeheartedly, you'll be able to love someone else.
You can't love no one else if you don't love
Yeah, cause
yourself.
yeah.
And everything is always we're always seen, down in despair and down in tragedy because you don't first love you,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So if you first love you and have a greater respect and self-esteem for yourself, you'll find it easier to love that person.
Yes, it will.
But my biggest point
Hmm.
that I want to bring out of all this here, when it comes down to why you cheat,
Hmm.
why people cheat, is because I feel like it's lack of communication. You know, the corresponding back with each other instead of talking at one another,
Hmm.
talk to one another, right?
Yeah.
And men, you have to make sure that you allow these women space and opportunity to tell you what's on their mind. Because and I know as a man, you could look at a woman and almost tell every single time she got something on her mind. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be laying down with nobody or beside nobody, and I got to go to bed wondering what's on their mind, especially if I know I done crossed them some kind of way. I just don't feel comfortable with that. Some men they can feel comfortable with that and they'll lay down and sleep like a baby. But just not that's not who I am. That ain't built up in my character.
No,
That ain't in my DNA. No,
it's
no, no.
not.
Let's figure this thing out here because I want to make sure everything good when I wake up on the other end of this thing.
Look here, you ain't got to worry about that. You good?
So, but communication is big, and
Yes, it
last
is.
week we talked about the finances, because finances is a big reason why relationships don't last,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Because they don't have a clear communication. I ain't saying that you got to have all the finances, but that you do have, you have to have a clear communication of how you allocate that those
Yeah.
yeah, those different finances,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You got to know where this is going, and what's coming
Coming
in.
in. That's
That way, you
correct.
can know, the involvement, the involving of your finances, so you can know what need to be festered out to savings, what need to be festered out to the bills, what need to be festered shuffled out to this and to that. So finance is the big part. And I found that communication, is another vital part of
Yes, it
a
is.
relationship. And people, people, another big part people does that they let themselves go physically, mentally. After a while, when you first start dating somebody, they was a fine wine, dine, cocoa bottle looking good, and I understand, don't get me wrong, people age and, and it comes with that, but come on, man. There's a difference between aging and just letting yourself go, right? So
Yeah, you're right.
we have to listen. It took this to get that brother. It took this to get that sister. Then when you see things are going south, then you should start implementing some of those things again to keep each other happy.
What you've done prior to, in your dating stage.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Whatever you did in your dating stages, do also, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Also in
Your marriage.
absolutely. You know, we have to identify these different things that can quickly cause a relationship to go sour. If you care anything about your relationship, if you really want to be in a relationship, then I feel like you'll do the work.
Yeah, now you got to put it in the work.
Some people don't want to put in no work. Some people I just kind of found out that some people just like mess.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just messy.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to argue, they like to fuss, they like to fight. And then you watch the trend of those people, their relationship really goes nowhere. And they spend, somewhat of 5, 10, 13
15.
years, 14, 15 years together and never accomplish anything, right? Break
Wow.
up on sour notes, hating each other, doing spiteful things to one another. You cheat, I cheat. You can do this, I can
Yeah,
do that.
that's that revenge.
Listen, ladies,
It's not healthy.
sitting in
And
a
it's not worth
relationship
it.
with a man and doing all that revenge stuff, he could do it, I could do it. Why would you even sit in? Why would you even degrade yourself to the level of if he can do it, I can do it? Listening to your girlfriends who don't never make no sense, that give you the wrong advice every single time.
Or they always single.
Yeah, absolutely. You're trying to, trying to be a man at a cheating game. Women, to me, seem to lose all the time. Now, the reason why I say that is because you know the woman body, is a precious thing.
Hmm.
When God made woman, He made something good for a man. And a woman is, a man should cherish his body as well too, because the body is the temple of the Lord, and this is where the Lord dwells in the body. But a woman body is something special, and to allow to play those games where if you do it, I can do it too. It's a lot of things that women, you know, uh, be receptive to more so than the man,
Hmm.
because that's your inner,
Yeah,
I'm trying
it's
to keep this
open.
PG, right? You feel where I'm going? You know what I'm saying? That's you. You know what I mean? And then, you the one as a woman that could end up pregnant,
Hmm.
having to carry a baby and take care of a baby when the man just, with his doggish ways sometimes and go on and do what he do in life as usual, and the woman gets stuck. So a woman should definitely be the one that be, both. Don't get me wrong. So it should be respectful to one another in these relationships. Why do we get in these relationships where we get to the point that we have to do the tit for tat game? To me, nobody really wins in that, because people get hurt, feelings get hurt, things go really bad.
Yeah.
So, um, identifying early on, right?
Hmm.
Communication early on,
Yes,
talking to one another,
that's correct.
ironing out your problems.
Yeah.
Me, I don't like to let stuff build up. I like to talk about it. Sometimes I can find myself talking too much, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But that's okay.
I'm bringing it to the forefront every time.
Every time.
Yeah, I ain't get time, ain't got no space. You understand? I ain't got no space to let nothing build up. Everything is already occupied in my mind.
So
So
right back at you. Is it worth it?
mm, no, it ain't worth it. Yeah, you know all that back and forth stuff. Fussing. I ain't got time for that. What y'all think? Is it worth it? Give us some,
Some feedback.
yeah, some
And let
factors.
us know what you think about it.
Why do people cheat? I mean, I And then when they cheat, after it all done hit the fan, you have to ask yourself the question: is it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it. So I don't know. So it it ain't worth it.
It's not.
Nah, 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 nah,
If you
nah.
gotta step out, it's not worth it.
Shout outs real quickly. New Hope Church of God in Christ, right here at 303 South University Street in the big city of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 37130, under the leadership of Pastor Anthony Graham. Y'all, this is a good church. They love to have church, very churchy people. We're not slow motion over there. We believe in giving God the praise, giving God the glory and the honor, y'all. If you're over in the Murfreesboro area and you want to come see us, come find us at the New Hope Church of God in Christ over with Pastor Anthony Graham. All right. Yes, yes, yes. All right, all right, all right. So, just to sum this thing up, my point here is that, you know, when you get into a relationship or you in a relationship with somebody, you should definitely make sure that you enter this relationship with clear
Understand.
communication. Yeah, understanding
Mhm.
and communication. Um, don't sit back and
And
become
assume.
somebody that you're right and assume or become somebody that you're not because you don't want to offend your significant other. If you can't be yourself, right, in a relationship,
Then you don't need it at
you
all.
might not need to be in that relationship, right? That's a big thing. Now, if yourself, now this don't and who, cool,
All
don't
right.
make somebody attracted to somebody that you're not.
Yeah.
That's a good one because that person getting into that relationship thinking they're dating that somebody that you're pretending to be, who you really not, and then it's hard to keep that act going for weeks, months, and
Years.
years of trying to keep that act going, and then that
That's too
person
much.
thought that they was in love with that person and it really was somebody else, and then now you got a situation.
Mm, 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 mm.
I'm serious,
Oh,
you
you
know. So it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, to one, uh, make sure that you're open and honest about who you are, what you are, and what you are looking for in a significant other.
That's correct. That's true. That's definitely true. That's true.
If you do that early on, you'll save yourself a long lifetime of headaches and hardships because God
Yes.
forbid
Yes.
that you get pregnant,
Hmm.
and have children by somebody that was not meant to be in your life for a long time.
They was only there for a season.
Absolutely. And God ordained marriage, and marriage is good. We get back to the things of God, I think we'll find ourselves being better off as people. But we do understand, here that people does not necessarily do it God's way all the time. So if you're not doing it God's way,
God gives a
you
God
know,
gives us a choice.
yeah.
Free
But
will.
and then people kind of do things their way. But we want to just kind of like share, on the topic of, some important facts of what can make your relationship sustain.
Hmm.
Number one is to, bring God in it, in all our
Yes.
ways, acknowledge Him, He'll direct our path. That's one thing we should do. But we got people that tend to think they can do it on their own. But here's the thing: if you don't have an open dialogue and communication, you all don't know how to talk to each other. If all he know how to do is yell and cuss at you and everything, and all you know how to do is just sit there and take it, then you guys got a recipe of what? Disaster.
Disaster.
Y'all trying to put the meat and the crabs and stuff in a full boiling pot. You're
It
gonna
ain't gonna work.
you're
It's
gonna get burnt
ain't
every
gonna
time, right?
right.
But uh, finances, communication,
Hmm.
these are very important things.
And trust.
Oh man, don't violate that trust, because once you violate that trust, it's hard to
It's
get it back.
hard to gain it back.
Oh
It's
man,
hard.
And you violate that trust, you're almost doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship doomed.
Yeah. Because it'll
Especially,
never be the same. It'll
especially
never be the
it never,
same.
especially if you violate that trust of cheating. Bringing a third spouse, a third person into a relationship. You know, what do the male doing it or the woman is doing it, the trust is pretty much out the window. I know people try to bounce back, and I'm sure people have bounced back, but I'm sure that number's few far in between.
Yeah.
Or people have bounced back from such a thing as violating their oath, to love one another for better, worse to death do them part. Me, I'm just the type of person that I try to be faithful. Try, but I do be faithful when I'm in committed relationships because you know. All right, I'm gonna leave that right there. And in other news, so what else
Yeah.
you got for us? Yeah.
Hey, I was just gonna
Mhm.
we was gonna just summarize everything. Is it worth it?
Mm,
It's not.
I don't think so.
It's not.
You know, if,
Because when you love someone, you love them wholeheartedly.
absolutely,
And you shouldn't let anything come between that.
absolutely, and that.
And if you do,
Hmm.
it was never love anyway from the get.
Sometimes that stuff be just lust.
But
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Infatuation with people,
Mhm.
and that's the thing. Like I was saying earlier, we had to really learn how to identify the difference between actual love and infatuation.
Yeah.
And lust. Because sometimes we take infatuation and lust and we use it and replace love with it, and it's just like a substitute. It's like Walmart.
Hmm.
Walmart got the name brand stuff, and then they got that
Great
great
value.
value.
Look, leave
You-
Walmart
it,
alone.
it, it looks and it feels like the real deal, but it's that great value. Something missing. Some they don't less than that thing. To sell it for a reduced price.
Hey, now that off brand sometimes be good now.
See there. That's the problem
I'm
right
talking
there.
about Walmart.
See, they wanted that. No, that's a good point. They want to take that. They want to take that love and that lust and that infatuation, lust and infatuation because it feels good, and they want to substitute it for the real thing. You better find that
Better
real
stop
thing.
that now.
You better find that real thing. Hey man, if you find real love, get there, stay there. Listen, stop fussing and arguing with each other. I was always taught this here
Hey,
about when I
let's
was
make
young.
it together.
Absolutely. When I was young, I was always taught this one thing, and I hold true to it to this very day, right now. As a man of God, I stand to this. Y'all ready for it?
Bring it.
You can't re-raise something that's already grown. So you spending all your time fussing and arguing, yelling at your significant other, belittling each other. For what? Where is that going?
Nowhere.
Where is that going? That's
Nowhere.
drawing hate, division. That's drawing spite,
And that's
envy.
that's unhealthy. It's
It's
unhealthy.
drawing to a ugly head, a wart head that you gonna really wish that you would have took care of in the early stages and not allowed that to get to where it is. Y'all understand what I'm trying to tell y'all? Listen, yeah, we need to get this thing together. Be open, honest from the very beginning of these relationships. Don't go in these relationships making people think that you're somebody that you're not. Huh? Have an open dialogue in your uh, early stages of your relationship. Y'all listen here. This has been good. And just we don't have all the answers.
No, we don't.
But we just like to, we know somebody that got all the answers,
Yes.
but we just like to have a conversation and just talk about these things. So y'all chime in. Number one, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification and let somebody know that Josh and Sharon is on having a conversation with you all. We're just real people dealing with real issues. Until next time, deuces.